How's it going, everyone? I want to make a quick video as a follow-up to what I made before when I explained that I was leaving competitive Melee. That's in the past, and another thing that's in the past is my work with the Project M scene. And I really wanted to focus on some of the mistakes that I made and make clear the air about what happened and just definitively apologize and own the mistakes that I made. There were a series of mistakes that I made back then. I wanted to provide some context. First of all, what I did, and then the context surrounding it, and then hopefully what I've done since to try to improve myself and improve the situation and the relationships that were involved. So first of all, I got involved modding Smash because of Project M. Project M was a huge inspiration for me to try brawl modding and ended up being a really fun hobby. But as anyone that with a hyperfixation will tell you is when you get into something, you really get into something. So I got really excited and devoted a lot of my time to doing that. That was around the time where I moved out on my own for the first time. This was over 10 years ago at this point. And so I had just moved out on my own, and um, I was always working full time while I worked on it. And so I would basically, for a while, I would go to work every day, 9 to 5. That's when I would commute before I worked from home. Drive there, drive back, stream from like 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock on like 3 days a week, and then I'd work on Smash modding projects. And so I there wasn't a lot of time for anything else, and I think that didn't put me in the best mental state. I think that's fair to say. I think anyone that knew me at the time would maybe see that and acknowledge that as well, including my friends and family members who were not involved in these projects. They, I'm sure they noticed as well. And so I think if I were to do things differently, I would try to set more guardrails and be more disciplined about my time that I spent on it. Because I think it kind of, what's the word I want to use? It escalated things and exacerbated things beyond levels that they should have. Another mistake that I made was involving a previous relationship I had where I decided it'd be a good idea to take someone that I used to date and say, "Hey, join this Discord server because why not?" And in retrospect, that probably wasn't the wisest thing, but it ended up with outcomes that were really great, and I'm extremely happy for the outcome. There's a certain person that I met as well through that scene that this person's life changed. There's a lot of people I met from the scene that lives have changed well, but obviously there are also a lot of people that I wronged while I was involved. And so one of the things I want to draw attention to is there was a Banjo Kazooie project for Project M. It was actually being made for Legacy XP at the time, and I was invited to join. I was going to help make a trailer for it and do probably some project management for it. And I got frustrated with how it was being handled, and I decided that I would just take things into my own hands and kind of make another server that was working on the same thing with all the same team members, but then assume leadership of it. And obviously, that was the wrong move. I got a little cocky about my ability to get projects done quickly, which I was very passionate about at the time. And I had a vision for the character and how it should work in PM, and I was worried that the person that was in charge of it at the time wasn't aligned with my vision, which was very selfish. And even though everyone was on board to do it, other than the two of the people that were there, it was completely wrong what I did. What I should have done, I should have gone to them first, expressed my frustrations and concerns, talked it out, and then just done it in a healthier way. But instead, I sort of hijacked it, and I really regret doing that. Since then, I have apologized to the folks that I wronged, but it came up again on that Reddit thread where I said that I was leaving the competitive scene. So I wanted to address it. I wanted to reiterate that I apologize for doing that. It was the wrong thing to do, and still love the people that worked on that project with. They're all really talented, great people. And then obviously, I had a bit of a meltdown as well before that, and that shook a lot of people's trust. And it was at the height of an emotionally intense moment for me, and I'm not proud of it. I wrote a little bit about it before. No need to dwell on it, but I do want to acknowledge that yes, I did. I kind of snapped. I had like a mental breakdown. I left a bunch of Discord servers. This was almost 10 years ago. I think this was like late 2016 or early 2017, something like that. If I remember correctly. And anyway, I just want to apologize to everyone that I affected, anyone that I said unkind things to, or anyone that felt like our trust was betrayed because of that. Just to again put it into context, I was a very lonely single guy living on my own, trying to figure out his life, and I by no means was the youngest person in the group. There were, I'm not claiming that, but I was still sort of trying to figure things out, and probably in a little too deep in the projects I was working on. I think that's fair to say. So anyone that has, kind of developed a hyper fixation on something will totally understand the desire to just work on that one thing. Time flies by. It's like when you're in flow state, and that can be a very good thing in select doses, but you definitely don't want it to consume your life, and I think that's what happened to me. Anyhow, those are kind of the worst parts of it. Overall, it was a very positive experience. I loved, especially working on Legacy TE. It was an experience where we were confronted with a set of constraints. It had to be competitively viable, it had to be appropriate for tournaments. And so that meant we were able to kind of hone in our creative vision and really make something great, which of course is the basis for Project Plus, which is awesome. And there's so much more I wish I could say about how things ended. Fortunately, I'm not really able to do that, so I'm just gonna kind of mention as a footnote that I wish I could have done it a bit longer, ended things on other terms. But that being said, of course, the friendships I've made from that, the things that we built together, the cosmetic standardization project, which is still being used, and also obviously an offshoot for Melee that's been created by Physio, which is awesome. He does great work, and the scene's still going, and just all the innovations that folks are making are really amazing. And so I just, again, just to kind of reiterate everything I've said so far, I want to apologize for the mistakes that I made in the past. If I haven't personally apologized to you yet, and you feel that I owe you an apology, please reach out to me directly. I'm open to talking to anybody. Sincerely, I'm open to talking to anybody about it, and we can talk through it. I do want to make things right if I can. I don't like to burn bridges. I know I have burned bridges, but if it's possible to rebuild, I would like to do that. So thank you very much for listening. I'm proud and happy with what I accomplished, but also wanted to just mention those things as well. All right, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you very much.